Picture this. You open your eyes. Not to the gentle warmth of sunlight spilling through the curtains. Not to the sound of birds singing or soft music playing from your phone. But to complete darkness. A silence so heavy it almost presses against your chest. Beneath you, the ground is hard, cold, and unforgiving. No comfort, no softness, no escape, and just a few feet away, leaning against the wall, rests a single sword. You know exactly what this day demands of you. There will be no ease, no shortcuts, no one coming to rescue you or cheer you on. This is a day for fighting, a day for enduring, a day for sharpening yourself. Piece by piece, strike by strike, choice by choice. And here's the truth. You don't do it because someone else asked you to. You don't do it because the world applauds or because society will hand you a medal. You do it because you've decided, deep within yourself, that you will not live as a weak man. That is the path of ruthless self-discipline. Most people misunderstand discipline. They reduce it to surface-level habits, color-coded calendars, gym memberships, tidy morning routines, motivational quotes taped to their mirror. Don't get me wrong, those things have their place. But in the grand scheme of mastery, that's child's play. Real discipline is darker. Real discipline is violent. It's not neat. It's not polite. It's not Instagram worthy. It's war. A war waged not against the world, but inside your own mind. Every single day, without exception, you stand on a battlefield. And in that battlefield, you either rise as the conqueror, or you fall as the conquered. History has shown us this truth again and again. Consider Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary samurai who carved his name into eternity. He wasn't born into greatness. His story wasn't a fairy tale. He killed for the first time at an age when most boys are still clinging to their innocence. And from that point on, duel after duel, challenge after challenge, he stood undefeated. Do you think he was gifted? Do you think destiny handed him victory? No, he forged himself through brutal training, relentless self-denial, and an uncompromising hatred for weakness, especially his own. Now look across the world and across time, to Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor, seated at the helm of the largest empire on earth. Power, luxury, wealth, everything within his grasp. And yet, he lived as though every day might be his last. He reminded himself constantly that comfort was poison, that surrendering to ease would erode the strength of his spirit. He knew that mastery over the self is a far greater conquest than mastery over nations. Think about that for a moment. The Emperor of Rome, ruler of millions, saw no greater victory than to govern his own impulses. His own mind, his own heart. Two men, two different worlds. A wandering samurai in Japan, a philosopher king in Rome. Yet they both held the same weapon, the same shield, the same unshakable principle, brutal self-discipline. And if you're here right now, watching this, chances are you feel the same pull. You're tired of the ordinary, tired of waking up weak, tired of being shackled by cravings, by fears, by the endless distractions that drain your focus and scatter your strength. Somewhere deep inside, you feel it, that hunger for something more. Not just success, not just recognition, but a life that feels sharp, unbreakable, untouchable. You want real power. If that's you, then don't move, don't click away, stay right here. Because what you're about to learn is not motivational fluff. This isn't the kind of feel-good advice that gives you a dopamine hit for 5 minutes and then evaporates. No, what's coming is raw, it's hard, It's war strategy for your soul. So let's dive in. Lesson 1. The enemy within. Musashi taught something that most people never grasp. The real battle, the one that matters most, doesn't happen out there against competitors, rivals, or enemies. It happens in here, inside your chest, inside your skull. The greatest fight is internal. Every single day, your mission is simple: to surpass who you were yesterday. Nothing more, nothing less. Only when you achieve that, when you conquer yourself, can you ever hope to conquer anyone or anything else. Think about that for a moment. The most feared samurai in history wasn't obsessed with humiliating others, or stacking trophies, or chasing applause. He was obsessed with defeating his own weakness. Every sunrise brought a new opponent, and that opponent was himself. And isn't that the truth for all of us? The enemy isn't always the competitor in your industry. It isn't the person who doubts you, or mocks you, or tries to hold you back. No, the deadliest enemy you face is quieter. It's the voice inside your own head. It's the whisper that says, "Hit snooze. Just 10 more minutes." It's the hunger that pushes you to binge when you promised yourself discipline. It's the fear that tells you you're not ready, that you're not enough, that you should wait. It's the endless distraction, scrolling, clicking, drifting, that pulls you away from your mission. Weak men obey that voice. Strong men crush it. And Marcus Aurelius knew this too. He wrote, centuries ago, that while we cannot control what happens around us, we always have absolute control over how we perceive and respond. That's the line most men never cross. Because it's easier to blame the world, to point the finger outward, to say, this isn't fair, life is against me. But Marcus knew the truth. He understood that real resilience comes from this single, unshakable principle. You are the master of your response. You don't control the storm, but you control your ship. You don't choose the winds, but you can set the sails. And when you finally grasp that, when you finally stop obeying the inner enemy and start mastering your response, you step into the rare territory where true strength is born. Now here's the question. How do you apply this? How do you take Musashi's ruthless obsession with self-conquest and Marcus's iron grip on perception and weave them into your daily life? How do you train yourself not just to survive, but to dominate the battlefield of your own mind? That's exactly where we're heading next. We uncovered the enemy within, the voice that whispers excuses, the temptations that pull us away, the fears that weaken our resolve. But here's the next truth you must face. Understanding this difference between conquering yourself and chasing control over the outside world is the very foundation of true resilience. You see, self-discipline is not about bending the world to your will. It's not about forcing circumstances to obey you, or making people move like pieces on a chessboard. No, real discipline is about governing the wild animal that lives inside you. And make no mistake, that animal is real. It growls when you're hungry. It whines when you're tired. It rages when you're angry. If you cannot tame it, if you cannot hold the leash of your own urges, your own laziness, your own storm of emotions, then you are already enslaved. Think about it. What good is a man who drives the most expensive car, flashes wads of cash on Instagram, or wears the finest suit if inside he has no control? He's not free. He's simply another slave, dressed in gold. 2. The dark truth about comfort. Here's the harsh reality. Comfort is killing you. Slowly, quietly, relentlessly. Musashi knew this well. He despised comfort with every bone in his body. at the peak of his fame, when victory after victory had already made his name legendary. He refused to drown himself in luxury. He owned nothing unnecessary. He lived like a monk, even though he could have lived like a king. Why? Because he understood a brutal truth: comfort dulls the blade. A warrior who indulges soon becomes a warrior who dies. And Marcus Aurelius? Despite being emperor of Rome, despite commanding armies and ruling nations, he often chose to sleep on the cold ground alongside soldiers during war. Why would a man with access to marble palaces and silk sheets choose such hardship? Because he knew how seductive comfort is. He reminded himself constantly of death, of disease, of betrayal, anything that would keep him sober against the sweet poison of ease. He refused to let illusions weaken his spirit. Now look at us today. What do you see? We are drowning in convenience. Food arrives at our doors within minutes of tapping a screen. Entertainment floods our eyes with an endless swipe. Comfort is everywhere, on demand, wrapped in shiny packaging. And yet, despite this ocean of ease, men have never been more depressed, more anxious, more hollow. Why? Because the body thrives on challenge, and the soul starves in comfort. If you want true strength, you must flip the script. You must walk into hardship voluntarily. Cold showers that shock your skin awake. Brutal workouts that leave your muscles burning. Fasting that sharpens the edge of hunger into focus. Long nights of work while everyone else is laughing, drinking, or partying. That's how you carve a man out of flesh. That's how you forge steel out of weakness. 3. A small story. The Man in the Cave. There's an old story I once heard. It speaks of a man who sought to test his limits, to see how much pain he could endure. He chose not the comfort of a home, not the safety of a village, but the cold silence of a cave. He locked himself away for an entire year. No light, no warmth, no soft bed to cradle him at night. Only stone walls, water, and the echo of his own thoughts. Every day he sat, meditating in the darkness. Every day he forced himself to endure hunger that gnawed at his belly, silence that weighed on his mind, solitude that pressed on his heart. When he finally emerged from that cave after 12 months, people barely recognized him. His body had grown lean, scarred, and hardened. His face no longer carried softness but an edge carved by suffering. And his eyes were steel, sharp and unflinching. He had turned himself into a weapon. Now, maybe this story is just a myth. Maybe it never happened. But the lesson it carries is undeniable. Discipline is forged in suffering. There is no escaping it. If you truly want to be unbreakable, you must be willing to bleed for it. 4. Why most men fail. But here's the question: if discipline is the key, why do most men fail at it? Why do they stumble, quit, and fall back into weakness? The answer is simple. Most men confuse discipline with motivation. They wait for the perfect moment, for the spark of inspiration. They tell themselves they'll act when they feel ready. But readiness is a lie. Musashi didn't wait for courage to wash over him before drawing his sword. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait to feel inspired before waking at dawn to govern an empire. They didn't wait, they acted. And that's the dividing line between the weak and the strong. Weak men wait for energy, for confidence, for inspiration to arrive. Strong men move without it. They don't wait for permission from their feelings. They lead their feelings by force of action. That's discipline. Discipline is doing push-ups when your chest burns and your arms tremble. When every fiber of your body screams, "Stop!" Discipline is sitting down to write when your mind feels empty, when every word feels forced, but you write anyway. Discipline is refusing pleasure even when it's placed in front of you on a silver plate. That's the difference. That's the edge. 5. A scene from a movie. Think of the movie Batman Begins. Remember the scenes when Bruce Wayne trains with Ra's al Ghul high in the frozen mountains? He's beaten down, starved, frozen to the bone. Every step is pain. Every moment is struggle. Yet in that crucible, he learns to master fear, to command anger, to endure suffering without breaking. That scene strikes us so deeply because it mirrors our own inner struggle. Batman wasn't born fearless. He wasn't born unshakable. He built himself into that through relentless discipline, through enduring what ordinary men would run from. And here's the truth you cannot ignore. Your life is no different. You may not wield a sword like Musashi. You may not wear a crown like Marcus Aurelius. You may not train on icy peaks like Bruce Wayne. But you face the same enemy, the same temptations, the same battle with comfort and fear. And the only way through it, the only way to build a life that cannot be broken, is the path of discipline. 6. The red pill of self-discipline. This is a hard truth to swallow, but you must face it. Waiting for a hero to come save you is nothing but a waste of time. No one is coming to pull you up. You must become the hero of your own story. The world does not care about excuses. It has no sympathy when you say you're tired, busy, or unmotivated. What the world respects are results, not reasons. Look at Musashi. He had no personal coach, no therapist, no self-help book to lean on. And Marcus Aurelius? He didn't cry for sympathy on forums or social media. Both of them carried their burdens in silence. They turned suffering into fuel, discipline into a sword, and themselves into legends. That is what ruthless self-discipline is. The ability to kill weakness before it kills you. Because if you don't destroy it, it will consume you. And when that happens, nothing will save you from a life of mediocrity. 7. Building ruthless discipline, practical steps. So, how do you forge this kind of iron discipline? The answer doesn't lie in dreams. It lies in the small, deliberate actions you take every single day. First, kill comfort before it kills you. Start cutting away unnecessary luxuries. Sleep on the floor once a week instead of your soft bed. Skip a meal to teach your body how to endure hunger. Walk in the cold without a jacket to sharpen resilience. These things are not meant to punish you. They are meant to train your will, so that your mind won't collapse when real storms strike. Next, win the small battles each day. Musashi once said, "Victory is daily." So stack those victories. Wake up without hitting snooze. Finish the workout even when you're exhausted. Read a page. Write a single sentence. Never underestimate these actions. Each small victory is a dagger plunged into the heart of weakness. Then, face death. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he could die at any moment. That truth guided every action. Every word, every thought. Ask yourself, if today were your last day, would you really choose to live it in laziness, weakness, and regret? Another step. Detach yourself from pleasures. Musashi avoided women, alcohol, and wealth because he knew blind indulgence destroys clarity. You can start small. Say no to just one pleasure a day. Skip that sweet coffee you crave, or resist an hour of mindless scrolling on social media. And you'll see, just one act of refusal already strengthens you from within. Finally, create your own iron code. Musashi had the way of the samurai. Marcus had the philosophy of an emperor. What about you? Write down rules you will never break, and then live by them, even when it burns, because holding firm to your code is what transforms you into someone unshakable. That is how men become legends. 8. The way of the disciplined mind. Musashi taught that there are many different paths leading to the summit of success. Every path is valid, as long as you walk it with conviction. But Marcus Aurelius added one essential rule for walking those paths: never compromise your integrity. Your methods can change, your strategies can adapt, but your principles must remain unshaken. Different paths, one mountain. The mountain of self-mastery. You don't need to be a samurai. You don't need to be an emperor. But you must be ruthless with yourself. You must carve discipline so deep into your bones that you no longer even recognize the weak, fragile man you once were. Because here is the truth. The world always bends to those with discipline. The weak will serve you. The crowd will envy you. And even death itself, the one force that spares no man, will respect you. So sharpen your blade, harden your mind, burn away every trace of softness. Become a man of ruthless self-discipline, because anything less is slavery, and slavery is death. Thank you for watching until the end. If you want to keep receiving lessons and perspectives like this, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.